guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I have a special interview with my dear sister here, Maura or Mora, depending however you want to pronounce her name. Some of you guys already know who she is, and you've seen her either on my live streams or a couple other live streams lately. And so you guys have been hearing me say that I was wanting to interview my sister because she actually went to DR and found her husband over there. And she, she married him. She brought him over here. She went through the whole K-1 visa process. So for those of you that watch 90 Day Fiance, you guys are kind of familiar with how that goes. We used to tell her she should go on the show, but she didn't want to. So yeah, so we're just going to kind of talk about her experience. I know finding love overseas is something, a lot of people consider, men and women. And I feel like we usually hear men talking about their experiences, looking for love outside of the country, but we don't hear as much about the women's perspective. So that is what we'll be doing today. So Maura is, my younger sister. We are 3 years apart. I'm older, but she is taller. So let's first start with some of your dating experience prior to getting with your now hubby. His name is Eladio. Oh, he's a rapper.
Stupid.
Well, that's not like his main job, but he does it on the side or whatever. He used to rap back in DR. So prior to getting with him, I know that you dated quite a few different types of guys. You didn't really limit yourself to a particular race or ethnicity. I remember seeing you with weren't you with an Argentinian guy once? He was from Argentina, right?
Who?
Or you were talking to him, but y'all never really got together. It was like some white Hispanic guy. He was like from Argentina or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was from Uruguay.
Uruguay. Oh, Uruguay. Okay, I know it was one of those South American white people. Yes. Okay, so I remember you talked to him. Of course, there were other Dominican guys that you talked to. The white American dude. Mm-hmm. Who else? What?
There's two white guys.
Okay.
Ryan and then the other one.
Oh yeah, but Ryan he's Italian though, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's Italian. He's so white, whatever. But I mean, he lives in Jersey, so he's like, basically American.
Any other Hispanic? Did you ever date any Puerto Rican?
I talked to a Puerto Rican. We didn't actually date though.
Okay.
And I talked to a few black guys, but we never made it official or anything either. Okay. So yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the only thing you never really dated was like Asian or Middle Eastern, right?
No. I mean, Asian, like, back when I was, like, younger, I did have a little Asian thing, but that was about it.
A little Asian persuasion?
Yeah.
Okay. So as y'all can see more, she basically, I guess you kind of dibbled and dabbled to see what you like, what you don't like. But in the end, you came back to your roots, and you got with a Dominican straight from DR. So now let's get into that and how that happened. So did you at any point make the decision I just want to be with a Dominican, or were you still open at the time and it just happened to be a Dominican? Was it a conscious decision or not?
Oh no. Like that trip that we started or whatever, I had no intentions of getting a man. I was just having a good time in DR like usual. Mm-hmm. And I mean, am I starting the whole story?
I mean, you might as well just tell the story how y'all met.
So obviously, I had actually met him a few years prior, but we didn't ever really talk or anything. We just hey, what's up, whatever, because he knows a lot of my few of my cousins, our cousins. Yeah. So I had met him in one night that we were out at a billiard in El Malecón in DR. But that was that. So it was maybe 3 years later when I went back to DR in December of 2015. That is when we were in Undring, on the 25th, getting our drink on or, having fun. And I see him from afar, and I told my cousin, I was like, "Oh, ain't that so and so? He looking a little good today." So he was like, "Yeah, that's him, that's him." But then he disappeared. So I was like, "Damn, he left." So I was like, "Whatever." But I guess he went to change because he comes back in a different outfit, looking even better. So I was like, "Oh, God." I mean, I was telling my cousin, like, "You gonna help us out or what?" But no, he was with his girl, so he wasn't trying to help me out. But apparently, Eladio's best friend, who is here now too, by the way, saw me staring at him a lot and told him, "Yo, she keeps staring at you."
Oh my God.
So then Eladio, he was very he had that little kind of gangster, whatever type of vibe when it comes to talking to women, I guess. And I thought it was kind of lame at the time, but I was just like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna go with it because he's cute, whatever.
Like he was talking to you with like his tigueraje and all that.
Yes, exactly. So he called me and my cousin and I over there. And then, that's when we went over to his little group and whatever. And he was saying all this little slick shit, which, of course, I was like, oh, my God, this youngin'. But, whatever. I was like, we're having fun, so we're going to have fun today. It was fine. So we decided to go to a club. And that's when, we were getting our dance on. And it was like that, that one of those scenes in the movie where you were with this dude that you vibing with. And you grabbing him in behind, Ooh. Oh my goodness. So it was, it was cool, we were vibing and stuff. And so I guess like the rest of that trip, we hung out multiple times, exchanged numbers, all that, whatever. And yeah, when I came back over here, we kept talking almost every day. And then, I've gotten to the point where I've been played with a lot and all that shit. So I was just like, look, what are we doing? Like, I don't really got time to waste. Too old for that shit. Like, yeah. Is this gonna be something or is it not? Just let me know. I was really like about it. And then he was like, do you want it to be something? I'm like, yeah, I'm wasting my time talking to you every day. So let's do it or no, then I'll move, then I'll just, I'll move on. And he was like, all right, then let's do it. Let's see where it goes. And I was like, okay, cool. So we kept talking, another few months, whatever. I was in college still at this time. So when summer break came around, I went back to hang out with him and stuff. I was over there for a month. That's when we really actually got to know each other even better because I stayed with him pretty much that whole month. And we figured out that we could actually, we were cool even, seeing each other every single day, basically living each other for that whole month. We were good. It was still the same vibe, still the same, fire, So yeah, I left, went back in September. So I was this girl. I did quite a few trips that year. The trip in September was a little more had a different tone to it because my grandma had died. Oh, yeah. So I did initially go for that. So I was a little out of it pretty much that whole trip, but he was very supportive and stuff. So we were still going strong and stuff. So a few months after that is when we were talking about are we gonna try to make this a thing where we would actually be together in the same place, because going back and forth is expensive. And, we talked about it to see if we were ready for that. And I was like, well, it's a process. So, by the time you actually get here, we'll have been together for 2 years. I'm thinking it's going to take 5 or whatever. But no, I bet you out of everybody in the world, my K-1 visa process is probably the shortest out of everybody's. So we were like, oh shit, you're gonna be here 4 months. Dang. So it was what, maybe a month. They sent him to get his all those shots they tell them to get, doctor's appointment, blah blah, the fingerprints and all this shit, and it was going so fast. And I was just like, oh damn. And then a month later, I get the email saying, oh yeah, choose a date of your appointment so you guys can both come and talk to the immigration officer. And I'm like, that fast. So I'm over here having to book a trip again for March. So I ended up going in March, and that was when we had our appointment. And of course, you know, we gave him, they asked like how you met, blah, blah, what you're going to do when you get to the States. You're going to have a job lined up. So we told him all that. And he was like, okay, you're approved. We were like, yeah, whatever. So like, that's when shit got real, you know, we were like, oh shit, like this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I was over there in March for my birthday passed also in that time. So we were there chilling, whatever. We were just waiting for him to get his passport ready to go. And then like 2 weeks later, they finally sent him his passport back. So with the visa in it, so we could actually leave. So we were back here by the end of March.
Wow.
So it was like, yeah, it was a total of like what, October, November, December. Yeah, 4 or 5 months. That's it.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, and then once you got here, y'all got married within how long? How many days?
Well, they only give you 90 days, just like the show. So we decided not to wait till last minute, just in case like paperwork would get funky or whatever, because I didn't know how that worked.
Mm-hmm.
So we got married in April. So our anniversary is April 10th.
Okay. So that was like a brief little rundown of how they met, the whole, you know, legal process. So a few questions, because I think these are the things that people tend to worry about. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least this is what I've worried about, because I've been told many times to go to DR and find yourself a man and bring him over here. But my first concern is, how do you know that when you try to get into a relationship with somebody down there that they're not just trying to get with you for papers? I think that's like one of the biggest concerns that people have, that this dude is just playing you and he's acting like he's in love and telling you all, you know, these sweet nothings in your ear. But deep down, he's just trying to get that green card and trying to come to the U.S. Because you already know, a lot of people down there, they think, you know, coming to the U.S. is like their golden ticket. You know, they're going to come to the land of money growing on trees, blah, blah, blah. So was that a concern for you? And how did you deal with that? And how did you come to the conclusion that he wasn't just getting with you for that?
See, I think that depends on the person, because I think he didn't try to be this overly romantic, overly like, I'm gonna sweep you off your feet. Like, it wasn't like, it was like he showed me like his real personality like real quick, like as if we were together already for 5 years. Like, this might be TMI, but then he was using the bathroom in front of me like the second week I was there. So he didn't really care at all. Like, he was like very himself. So I think that allowed me to get to know his personality a lot quicker and get to know him on a different level than, you know, when you're like courting somebody and I guess you show like your business side. That's like your, you know, this is your business face for like the first, couple of months of a relationship.
Your representative.
Exactly, your representative.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like he didn't do that at all. Like he didn't care. Like he was like, I'm not showing you no representative. This is me. Like, and I think I dig that, because I was able to really get to know like little things that he did that maybe I wasn't gonna like real quick. So like, okay, this actually works, because you know, there was a few little things that he does and he still does that get on my nerves, but you know, like it's little things that I was like, okay, I can live with this, because you're not gonna like somebody's entire being 100%. Like, that's just not gonna happen.
But did he ever show interest like in coming to the U.S.?
No.
Okay.
He was never pushy about that. Like, he was never like, so, do you think this is gonna, like, you know, we'll get to go be together over there? Like, no. Like, that first discussion about that was me, because I was tired of going back and forth. So I was trying to figure out, like, if all this back and forth was actually gonna pay off. Mm-hmm. So I was the one that initiated that conversation. Like, he never once showed any interest in coming over here.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess, I mean, it really does come down to the person. I've been told that if I were to try and scout for a man down there, to try and find a man that like already viaja, you know, that already has been over here, you know, whether it be on a visa or whatever. So at least it's not like they're looking to me for like that first ticket to the U.S. But
then that's tricky, because if they're already over here or they already have a visa, that means they already have like somebody that has either sponsored them to come over here, like, or because if you get a visa de paseo is what they call it over there, you know, like if you're just going on visiting visa, you still have to have somebody where you're gonna go. So depending on where that person goes, like what if that person's people that sponsored them to go visit live in New York or live in freaking California, you know? Because then you're going to meet this person, you might dig them, and then you find out that they have a visa because of somebody that lives far as hell.
But I mean, that shouldn't necessarily matter because they're still mainly living in DR anyway, so they're not like attached to that location per se.
I guess that's true.
So I could be like, okay, well, you got an uncle or aunt in Connecticut or Massachusetts, but I'm in VA, so you're going to have to come to Virginia, you know?
I mean, that's true. That's true.
I don't know.
But, I mean, I don't know. I think you need to feel them out. I mean, I obviously didn't feel him out, like, that long, but I think, like, as I said before, his personality and the way he had no filter was what helped me to really feel him out real quick and just be like, okay, this is how
he's not just trying to use you. Or whatever.
Like, he was not sugarcoating shit. Like, it wasn't like, yeah, you know I love you, we gonna be together. No, it wasn't none of that. Like, it was like real.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that leads to my next two questions. One is the age difference, and two, the whole like aspect of getting married young. So Eladio was actually younger than you.
Yes.
How old are both of you guys when y'all got married?
You don't make me tell my age to the world. It's like, no, I don't care. I'm 29 now, so how old does that make me in 2017? That was 3 years ago. I'm gonna be 30 this year, so 2017 would be almost 4 years ago. So I was 26.
26.
Yeah, 26.
So that means he was
24 and some change, because I am 2 years and a half. Yeah, 2 years and a half
older than him. So technically, but when y'all started dating, he was only 23, right? Okay. So how do you feel about dating, like, just generally speaking, dating a younger guy? Because that's another thing that, you know, is sometimes kind of taboo for some women, like going younger, because, you know, the idea is, especially a guy in his young 20s, like, oh, a guy in his younger 20s, he's still playing the field, he's still somewhat immature, they're not ready to settle down, blah, blah, blah. You know, I feel like women were kind of taught to get with someone older because usually, not always, but usually the idea is that a guy that is older is more ready to settle down, they're more stable, etc., etc. So did you ever find, or even now, do you feel that the age difference in him being younger has ever been an issue?
No.
Okay.
I mean, like, there's like some goofiness that I know comes from his age, but that's like his like sense of humor is a little like stupid. But that's like, I mean that's whatever. I mean, he's funny, so it's fine.
Okay.
No, I mean, he's actually very mature for his age, which sounds stupid.
He's very laid back,
like super
very
laid back. Like, he does not seem like somebody that is his age. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And back to you saying that he used to be a rapper and all that stuff. That I think that also helped him a lot to get through his hoe phase.
He got that out early.
He got that out of the way early because obviously, you know, when you're a local artist, of course you're not famous in the whole country, but in your barrio, in your area, everybody knows who you are because you're doing, you know, local shows and all the local clubs. So of course all the little girls knew who he was. And he told me he was super popular in high school too, because he was one of the more better looking ones out of all the guys and stuff. So of course, you know, he was getting girls since younger days. So he got out of that phase quick because he had like plenty of time.
That's another thing that I always hear a lot of people say, that you want to get a man that has already gone out of his whole phase, as they call it. And usually guys that didn't go through that and then they get married and then it's like they kind of, sometimes they end up wanting to get into that later on because they didn't experience it, and it just causes trouble.
I mean, I'll have to say not all guys need that phase. There are some guys that don't necessarily have to hoe around. They could, you know, date around a little bit, and then they find someone that they want to be with forever, and then that's it, you know. But obviously, there are men that will get married and then have an epiphany and be like, crap, like, I've only had sex with 2 women in my whole life. Like, why am I tying myself down now?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's something that you also have to see about the specific person that you're with, too. Like, do they seem like they haven't lived enough to get married?
Mm-hmm. So I remember somebody in one of our group chats bringing this up in the past, and they asked if the fact that, Eladio is, Dominican, being, of Hispanic background, if maybe that made the idea of getting married at a younger age not so much of a big deal as, like, men make it here in America. Do you think that played a role?
I don't think so, because I think that more pertains to the women in Hispanic communities, not so much men. Like, I think we're more, like, I think people expect us to get married younger because they want us to have kids younger, because they want us to do this younger, because they want our men to meet us while we still look good, so we still impress them physically and in all aspects of a marriage, very old school thinking, But I don't think that, in my opinion.
Well, no, I'm not saying that men are expected to marry younger, but it's how can I say it? But it's not like as big a deal to them, I feel like, in other societies. Because I think here, people, well, especially men, they view marriage as like a freaking sentence and like their life is over. But I feel like, I don't know, in other countries, they don't make it as big of a deal to get married. Like, the thought of marriage isn't like, oh my God, my life is over.
But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like white guys aren't like that, though. Like, I feel like white guys are pretty, like, that's the goal type thing. At least most of them. Well, I mean, they're not going to see that.
So you think it's just a minority men in this country that feel that way?
Maybe, because, I don't know. I mean, I don't really... Of course, there's going to be, in every race, people that see it as something like, oh my God, I'm tying myself down with this woman for the rest of my life. What am I doing? But, I don't know. I feel like white guys... pretty much know that's the goal. I think, like, I don't know, I never got to that point with any of those white guys, so but I don't know, maybe it is a minority thing.
I don't know, I guess I've just always felt like guys still living in Latin America, I feel like their like marriage isn't as big of, not that it's not a big deal, but they don't view it so negatively the way American guys do.
I think that's also a generation thing too. I think as like the younger generations are also way more like, why get married? Let's do partnership, be a partnership forever. Why you need the paper for? What does that do?
Well, but then again, a lot of old school, like our grandparents' generations, they did that though.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But that's also because, I mean, once you moved in with a dude, that was your dude forever.
Marido, like,
yeah, you didn't need the paper. Like, that was your man. And you had to be fiel a ese hombre, or else you were going to be the talk of the town. Like, I mean, that was different. But I think now it's not because, oh, I live with him, so now he's my man. No, now it's just like, oh, we're going to see how this goes. And if it don't go, it don't go. And I don't have a paper tying me to you.
True.
Yeah, generations have changed a lot.
Yeah. So fast forward to you guys getting married. He's now living here. How do you feel he has adjusted to living in the U.S.?
I know at first he was bored.
Of course, they all say that shit when they first come here.
I mean, anybody, whether you come for love or just on a visa with family, like, of course you're going to be bored. Like, especially coming from a country like Dominican. Like, there's un coro en cada esquina at night. It don't even got to be the weekend. Obviously, the weekend is even more popping, but you will find un billar, full of people on a Monday. Like, it's, I mean, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it doesn't matter what day it is. You'll find some type of thing to do. So, obviously, it's like a real, like, culture shock, reality check. Like, nah, everybody here works during the week. Like, yeah, you might find a few people that go to the club on a Thursday or whatever, but it's definitely not the same. So, of course, the boredom is real when they first get here. and the cold weather is also a shock.
That's always a big adjustment.
Surprisingly, he's never really complained about like, oh my god, it's so cold, I'm gonna die. Like, he's just one of those weird, like a very weird person when it comes to temperature. Like, I'm surprised how well he adjusts to that. Because I freaking was born here and I freaking hate winter.
Yeah.
But also, climate change is real, y'all. So our winters here in VA have not been the same, okay? Yeah, these last, like, what,
they're
6, 7 years?
Milder than they used to be.
Definitely not as cold as they were when I was younger. So he doesn't know. I always tell him that you don't know what cold is anymore. Like, this is not cold.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So that, I mean, but I think for the most part, he's done pretty well adjusting. Like Christina said, he's very chill. So that helps too. He's not like somebody that's like pressed to go out all the time or to be in constant movement or whatever. Like, he's a big movie guy, so he likes to just chill, watch movies, watch videos. He actually likes documentaries and stuff like that, which seeing him how he was in DR, you would never think that he was somebody that watched documentaries. So yeah, like, he entertains himself however he sees fit. Like,
okay. So, you guys now have 2 little twin boys. Yes, Caleb and Kalel. A lot of y'all have seen them in my vlogs. And you're also a stay-at-home wife and mom, which is something that, you know, a lot of women kind of discuss here on YouTube as far as, like, finding a man that can, you know, support you to, I don't know, so you can stay home and raise the kids or whatever. So do you feel like when it comes to those type of like gender roles and what's expected of a husband and a wife, did he just kind of naturally fill that role? Like he doesn't have an issue with the fact that he's providing for you financially, even though he's the one that came here to be with you, you know? Like,
I mean, people have jokes about that, like, oh, she brought you over here, but she got you working. Like, it's not even like that at all. Like, we obviously didn't plan to have children, like, as so quickly into our marriage, but it just happened, you know? Like, I mean, I don't know if Christina talked about our daughter that we had beforehand much on her channel, but I was pregnant, like, what, literally as we were coming to the States. I was already pregnant. I didn't know. So first year, bam, I already had a kid. And he was told that he couldn't have kids unless he did some kind of, like, treatment or whatever.
Yeah,
so, of course, we were just, you know, chilling. We weren't really protecting ourselves too much because we were under the impression that he couldn't have children. And then, of course, my freaking fertile ass, you know, like, I'm with him for, what, a year, and I'm already pregnant. But anyways. So, with Leilani, since she had all those complications, it was actually better that I didn't get a job, because if we were both working full-time, she would have never had anybody with her there in the hospital. I mean, even the nurses told me, like, fortunately for Leilani, I was one of the ones that was there most than, like, all the other little kids' parents. Like, most of them worked or they just didn't go, which is, like, totally sad, because I can't imagine a baby, like, who's supposed to be getting familiarized with their family and their mom, their dad. You know, it's like a whole process when an infant is growing, and then just sitting there in a hospital room not having nobody. Like, that would be terrible. So I was like, okay, look, right now I'm just going to do whatever job I can find on the weekend. I've been with a nanny company since, like, 2016. No, this was before that, like 2013. I've been with them for a minute. So I do nanny jobs, babysitting jobs whenever I can. I did that. And that was what worked for us so that I could be with her, you know, at least 4 or 5 days a week. And he was happy with that too, because he didn't want her to be alone in the hospital either. And then, so that whole process, you know, then she passed away. So of course we were just like in this weird situation, and it was like, what am I going to do now? And then I found out that I'm pregnant with the twins. So I was like, oh my goodness. So then, you know, my whole plan of getting a job kind of went down the drain after that too, because I'm like, okay, childcare in Virginia is for the birds, because it is so expensive.
Yeah, it is.
I have asked around in several daycares, and they're all $2,000 up a month. So that's basically like us paying a separate mortgage just for the kids to go to daycare because they're both infants of the same age. So I'm just like, bruh, like, it's too much money. Like, so I'm like trying to see if I can find someone that does childcare in their home because they charge way less. So if I can find that, then obviously it'd be way better for us both to work. But I don't think that he's at a point where he's like annoyed that he's been the one working, because our relationship has had really weird circumstances that have obligated me to stay home, which is like obviously stuff that not anybody goes through, a child loss or something like that, or a kid being in the hospital their whole life until they pass away, like very specific situations that he understands, obviously. So I don't think he cares. I think that's also a thing that I think he wouldn't feel right being the one staying home, even though I brought him. That don't sit right with men's egos most of the time, unless like that's something that you guys sit down and talk about. Like, I don't think he would have liked that anyway.
So I gotta say, you got lucky. you got a good one. I mean, one thing I can say just from like observing him, I mean, he's definitely been very supportive of you and everything, and he's been a good husband, and through all the hardships y'all have been through, and just a few years of being married, and he's also a good father. He's kind of been like an extended male figure also for my girls, since he's there with everyone, and he fit in immediately with the family.
Oh yeah.
So
crazy as hell, just like all the rest of them.
you know how Dominicans are. So I mean, like I said, you find a good one. So although sometimes the idea of finding, a partner in a different country, it can sometimes be, looked down on because of some of the concerns that people have, many of which are valid, of course. But I do think you need to treat people on an individual basis, and of course, kind of look out for any red flags or any signs that this person, might actually just be trying to use you. But sometimes it's real, like the love can be genuine. So it's definitely a possibility.
I feel like with anybody though, like you can tell when someone is taking advantage of you for the most part, unless they're like really good actors. Like even somebody that's here, like you can tell when somebody is using you for a particular thing. And I think women do it too, men do it too, whatever. I think you can tell.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you can tell from someone, especially if their interest is more just to be here than to be with you. I think they will let you know eventually, even if they don't flat out say it because they don't want to lose their chances. I do feel like they would like be antsy, about getting over here. And
and you can tell, like on shows like 90 Day Fiance, you can tell the ones that are more interested just in coming to the U.S. than they are in actually being with the person because of what they say. Like you said, they seem very anxious about, oh my God, the United States, and I'm going to buy this, and I want that, and I want the house and the car, and this and that.
Yeah.
You can tell. You can tell kind of what they're really after.
And that's why, too, you have to explain to people, like, shit ain't just like a walk in a park when you come to the U.S. Like, you have to work. You have to work for what you want. It's not something that you're going to be looking fly in a nice car as soon as you, have a few months here, you're going to be balling. Like, that's the thing that is it's just so stupid about a lot of people that go to DR after they've been living here for years. They go to DR and they want to front to the people that they still have over there to make it seem like, oh, I've been really successful since I've left, And it's stupid because a lot of people over there still see these people going over there and they're still thinking in their minds like, man, I need to get to the U.S. Look at Fulano. Like, he come over here dropping bottles every night. We go to the club and he's buying 5 bottles of this. He's doing good. I need to go over there. Like, I wish these people knew that these people literally save up just to go to DR and pop them bottles, which is why I don't do that, because I feel like that's so stupid. Why am I going to front to these people like I'm rich over here? I'm not. I'm down with middle class like shit. Like, I don't need to front over there to people. And I hate when people have the expectation, too, that when you go over there, like, you have to front them for everything when they go out with you. Like, I worked hard to save up, what, 1,000, 2,000, whatever I can take to DR. And now even more because we go with kids. Like, we work hard just to be able to take enough money to be comfortable and go out and go to the beach, you know, go to a resort if we can. Like, don't come over here sitting here, like, expecting me to buy you everything when we go somewhere with you just because you're over there and I'm here. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
People really need to see the reality of what it is over here because this is not how people think it is.
Facts. So, do you think in any point in y'all's future, you guys may ever relocate to DR or maybe just have a house over there that y'all could go to?
Oh yeah, that's definitely in his sooner than later goals.
To get a house over there?
Is to build, extend the house that his mom left him. And perhaps get an apartment for us so that we have somewhere permanent to go when we go to DR.
Wait, so it wouldn't be the same house?
No, he wants to extend the house that was his mom's and rent that. He wants to make like 4 mini apartments in the house and rent it. Yeah, so we can have a monthly income from that too. So when we go over there, we have that money too.
Yeah.
And then we would like buy like an apartment or whatever in Santo Domingo, and then of course we have our family home in Bonao, so we don't need to buy a house in Bonao. So yeah, that's the goal.
Nice. That's what's up. You mentioned earlier that his best friend is now here, so his best friend ended up marrying our cousin.
Yes.
So they both got lucky. They both got out the hood, and they over here now. They lived in Los Frailes, in Santo Domingo. For any of you guys that may be familiar with that area. And it's funny, like, literally, all of our cousins, like, first cousins that are around our age, they've all, men and women, gotten their spouses in DR and brought them over here.
Yeah.
All of them.
I mean, besides the ones that met over there, but, like, so yeah, his best friend is now married to our cousin, which I hooked them up, so yeah. And that worked out for them, so now they get to see each other all the time because we all live in the same state.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, Ariel, our other cousin, like, he just brought his wife last year.
Yeah.
And they all lived in the same area.
His brother, well, they were girlfriend and boyfriend back when he was living in DR, but he came here, and then years later, he brought her over. And his brother, I mean, already had his wife prior to coming, but that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah. But then he brought her too.
Yeah. So I feel like
it works.
I feel like Dominicans, for the most part, tend to seek and want to be with other Dominicans.
Yeah.
And because, like I've always say, there's not a whole lot of Dominicans in the DMV, so they just go back to DR to find somebody.
I think it's like a culture thing where this person is going to be comfortable with your music, your food, your family, the way your family is. Because, for the most part, most Dominicans are real, outgoing, real energetic. And I think that's why a lot of the white dudes just didn't last, because they're not used to people like that. They're not. Because, most white folks are not like that. There are some that are very, they'll get into the culture real quick, but there's a lot that are not. So that's the reason why a lot of people just tend to go back to their same people.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal to other races. I think it's just something that that person is already comfortable with how you are.
Right.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't even that. It was just that's just circumstance. That was just, hey, I got lucky.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, more, that was pretty much all the questions I had. I don't know if there's anything you want to add or any last words of advice for women or men trying to find love overseas.
I would say don't close yourself off to the idea of it. It is totally possible. You just really have to, feel the person out. Even if you have to, I don't know, like, put in some gancho ahí para ver si caen, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, do it. If you have to do that to see where their head is at, do it. I mean, but I think that most people will tell you, not flat out, obviously, but with the way that they communicate with you, the things they want to talk about with you, you will figure it out sooner or later what their real interests are. So don't shut yourself out completely to the idea of getting somebody somewhere else, because you never know.
Yeah, also, and I think this applies to long distance relationships in general, because it can be even like two people in two different states, just here in the US. But I feel like in order for those type of relationships to work, once they get serious, there has to be some goal of uniting in one location sooner than later.
Yeah, I definitely.
Like, that is a must when it comes to long distance relationships.
Emphasis on sooner than later.
Yeah.
Especially if you guys have gotten to the point where you're serious about it, like, do it. Because the longer that you linger around with the long distance stuff, the more the chance of somebody losing interest.
Cheating,
you know, whatever, or they might not even cheat on you, just lose interest in general because you don't see each other face to face. Like, face to face connection is really important. Which is why I did all those trips over there, because, you know, I wanted to get more face-to-face time before he was here. Like, it's easier if you live in the States, so, do it.
Yeah.
Don't make excuses. That's another way that you know if somebody doesn't really want something too serious either. If they're always making excuses when you get to the conversation about, like, okay, who's moving where, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and once you see that, excuse, then just don't waste your time.
Facts. Well, all right, guys, that was the end of this interview with Mora. For those of you watching, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. And I'm sure y'all will see more again, whether it's on one of my lives or somebody else's lives, and, you know, a little community here. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.